First, do you have an update on the number of pending claims?
Pending claims. So I want to explain something first, because this is kind of a light bulb went off to us this week. We found that we have many claimants that have filed claims in Maryland who never actually even followed through with filing a weekly certification, which is their payment request. So the light bulb that went off for me this week was that every single claim that's filed is actually has a miniature 39 claims within it, because claimants can be eligible one week, not eligible the next week. So their weekly certification is required by federal law for us to certify their eligibility each week, but it's also their payment request. So the good news that I will tell you is that we have paid 77% of every payment request that has come in. So, over 2 million payment requests, 2 million weeks of payments have been requested by our claimants, and we've paid 77% of those. So we're really happy about that. In terms of adjudication, we have determined through the process, it's an insurance program, we have to go back and forth, claimant and employer. These issues get triggered, and every claim that has adjudication issues often has more than one. So they have anywhere from 1, 2 to 5 issues on each claim. So while we have worked through over 900,000 adjudication issues during this pandemic alone, and resolved 85% of those adjudication issues, there are still 139,000 adjudication issues remaining. Those are issues, not claims. So remember, one claim can have anywhere from 1 to 5 issues. Most claims have at least 2 issues that are pending adjudication. So it's a subset of that 139,000 issues remaining. So less than 100,000 claims are pending adjudication.
Okay. Is there maybe I can follow up with Fallon just to get an updated number, because we've been working off the number of pending adjudication claims from the hearing a few weeks ago. So I just wanted to check with you on that.
Yeah, sure. We can certainly follow up. It's a really difficult query to run because each claim has more than one adjudication issue. So they're pulling from multiple databases to figure out, and one claim one day might have 1 issue resolved and have 2 remaining. So we wanted to make sure we were letting everybody know that it's less than 100,000 claims that require adjudication still. But it's only 15% of the issues, because we've resolved 85% of the issues thus far. We're working through it, creating automated solutions every single day in our system, and by proactively calling and doing those interviews back and forth with employee and employer.
You mentioned that phone lines will be expanded from 200 to 540. When will that happen? Do you have any goal or timeline as to when the call wait times will improve?
Sure. I was hopeful that was going to happen by this weekend. I'm waiting to see. As you know, Sunday and Monday are our highest volume days because that's the beginning of the weekly certification filing week. So they're running some additional testing today. I'll have an update on that probably tomorrow when that's going to go live. They are in the final testing phases. Obviously, I don't want to launch something that we're not 100% sure is ready to go. The reason it requires additional testing is because it is completely synced with the Beacon one-stop system. So the weekly certifications that are filed by phone will automatically be populated. There's no delay. There's no batch that has to transfer that data. It's all real time. The new system will also have an option for everyone that's on the phone to have live interaction with our vendor and with the system and through live chats. So no one will ever be told that they cannot get their issue resolved when they're on the phone, which is extremely important. When someone calls, we don't want to have to make them ever call back or wait. We want to resolve all of their issues right then and there. So yes, at right now, we always have over 200 people answering the phones, but we have more people available to do that as soon as I'm able to increase those call lines in the coming days.
So the chat sessions with a virtual agent while people are waiting on the phone, I saw that the goal was to have that by the end of this week. Will that be a bot, or will that be an actual claim center representative?
No, the virtual assistant is a bot. It's already operating on our website. That's running through our vendor, Accenture, the same vendor that we have hired the 275 unemployment insurance professionals this is what they do. They know this line of work and they know federal law related to unemployment insurance. So it was a perfect fit. They're working with many states, not just Maryland. So the bot has been so successful on our website, handling hundreds of thousands of sessions and issues by searching through our frequently asked questions, that we looked into the option of including it in our new IVR system, the interactive voice response. So we do believe that that's going to help a lot of people, and it will be live the minute that our new IVR system goes live with the additional lines as well. Coming days, hours or days.
And you're talking about a live chat function, not the virtual assistant when the IVR system goes live.
I'm talking about both. So I'm talking about both. You had followed up and asked about the virtual assistant, which is the chat bot. So because of the additional lines and because of the additional capacity and abilities through technology on a new IVR system, we'll be able to have our claimants have access to live chat features with anyone that they need to talk to while we have someone on the phone. But while people are on hold, they will also have that option to work with the virtual agent, which is a bot that is searching through hundreds of thousands of questions and answers that hopefully will be able to resolve some of our claimants' questions without having to make them hold and speak to a live agent.
People have waited months for a phone interview. Is there anything else you can tell them besides to be patient? Can they get a day scheduled versus waiting by the phone? And what if they miss the call?
So I spoke to one of our supervisors last night who was explaining to me that they were so thrilled, and the claimant on the other end, I have a testimonial from her telling us that she got excited for when those calls were coming because our agents were working so hard to resolve those issues. We had one case that took no less than 20 calls back and forth between the employer and the employee, and the employer was contesting the case. So sometimes it's not only that someone misses a phone call, sometimes it takes that much back and forth from one agent following up and getting additional documents and asking additional questions. It's an insurance program. So just like if you were in a car accident, the claimant's information comes in and then you have to go and get the other details that are involved in the case and get the police report and make sure that the data is syncing up. And our job is to do everything in our power to try and get our Maryland claimants their benefits if they are entitled to them. Not everyone is entitled to them. There are a lot of federal rules surrounding this program that we must abide by. That being said, the claimant that I heard from last night was ecstatic and thrilled that we spent that much time. And yes, it took weeks to get through, but we never let up. And they were thrilled when they would get that call with more information from the employer because we were the ones pushing the issue, trying to get them approved. It doesn't always work out that way, and it doesn't always take that long. Sometimes an adjudication issue can be one phone call and it's done. We need one piece of information. Oh, this isn't what you put into the system. Employer, can you send us a letter that states this? They send it the same day and the issue is cleared. So every case is different.
But Maria Powers has been waiting since April 3rd for an interview. Peggy Grow has been waiting since April 2nd. I mean, can they do anything else besides just wait?
Well, so for those people who have been waiting for that long, I'm guessing we do have some issues with callbacks, and sometimes people don't answer the phone and there is a long list. So, they keep circling through, but we are triaging right now the oldest cases. So I hope that I would love to get those names and follow up with those claimants individually. But more importantly, anyone who has been waiting from March and early April, we are working to triage through those. The system already operates with the first in that we are trying to adjudicate the most quickly. But we kind of have a strike team, if you will, that's looking at older claims that have the most complex issues. And we are putting in, I say extra hours, but my team is already working 12 to 20-hour days. But we have people volunteering to work on Sundays and to make additional calls to work through those very complex cases because we know that we need to get those issues resolved. And if those claimants are entitled to benefits, we want to get them out to them as quickly as possible.
What about people who are waiting on back pay? When can they expect to see that?
So when you say back pay, I'm a little confused as to what you mean. When a claimant receives their initial debit card, it includes all payment back to their date of eligibility. So I spoke to a claimant yesterday, and the amount she received on her debit card was over $7,000. She was one of those claimants that was eligible all the way back to January. So we're thrilled about that. A lot of people are seeing, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 payments on their initial card, and then going forward, they will receive, their card will be loaded with their weekly amount, or of course they can elect with Bank of America to have that amount direct deposited.
We're still hearing though from people who did receive their debit cards, but it didn't have, the back pay to when they were first eligible. It had the initial weeks that they filed, so maybe they're missing weekly claim certifications.
So that could be, again, every case is different. We would have to look into each one individually, but absolutely, remember, we certify eligibility and approve payment requests on a weekly basis. So if there was, some claimants might be eligible one week and not eligible the next. For example, if they made wages over $430 a week one week, but they made less than that the next, they wouldn't get paid for one week, they would get paid for the next. Also, if they missed filing a weekly certification, like you mentioned, that would trigger an issue where they wouldn't have been paid for those weeks. I talked about some automated solutions that we're happy about, because claimants should now be able to go in and file those previous weekly certifications if there's not an adjudication issue that has been triggered on them. We also just this week populated a new button on the website that says for claimants to reopen their own claim. So if a claim has been inactive for an issue that they may have triggered or something that has happened in the system, they now have the ability, without talking to an agent, to reopen their claim and correct anything in their portal.
I know I don't have that much time left with you, but I did want to ask this question from Tiffany because I think it's very important. What is your plan to provide effective, consistent communication so applicants can be proactive with their financial affairs? To date, communication and timelines have been vague and inconsistent, leaving people wondering when and if they will ever get benefits.
So you're talking about communication with our claimants?
Yeah, or through the media, through hearings. I know there's no upcoming hearings. I'm so grateful that we had this interview today, but it's been several weeks. So do you have any plans to improve communication to kind of get the word out on where you are in getting people these benefits?
Sure. So I will first say, as I'm sure you are well aware, we've been really busy, but I have not declined even one request from any legislator for a phone call, for a briefing, for an update, for a hearing. We sent out last Friday, on the 22nd, I believe that was. It was the Friday before Memorial Day weekend. We sent out a 9-page response to the joint committee hearing that happened with very detailed answers to all the questions that they followed up with. Today we have a 25-page document answering questions as follow-up submitted from the Economic Matters Committee hearing that followed that joint committee hearing that the same week. We have been populating those answers because 25 pages of questions is a lot to get through, and they're very specific. And we have been working on enhancements to our system daily based on feedback from customers. So we wanted to make sure we included the most up-to-date. Some of the information in the joint committee letter might have already improved, because we're making changes every single day. We do agree that obviously today's Thursday, so the US DOL claims numbers have come out today. We always post those every week with the county level data as well. We are working on some charts to populate every Thursday, in addition to those US DOL numbers that show the breakdown of payments across Maryland, including payments broken out and percentages paid by county. So I hope to have that live by next week. Our goal is, because Thursday is already a reporting day for claims, to add information so that we can kind of have some charts and data to publish every single Thursday going forward. And in terms of claimants, in their new portal, in the Beacon One Stop, they can elect their method of communication. So they can choose if they want to get communication by text or email or snail mail. And all of the correspondence is always available to them in their portal. There's a correspondence button, so they can click and look at old or new correspondence. We have, fortunately, all of our claimants' email addresses. So we regularly send them messages, for example, when there's a new feature on the system that has been updated and we want to show them a video tutorial or let them know, you now can file for your missing open weeks. Please go into your portal and see if this works for you. Those kinds of ways that we have always been communicating, and we are certainly working to do more of that.
One more quick question. Are there any plans to provide a roadmap to benefits so people know where they are in the process, like pending interview, application received but not processed? Right now, when claimants file, they don't hear anything for several weeks, so they start calling for more information.
That's true. They should have information in their portal based on what's happening with their claim. But I understand what you're saying, and we are looking to triage the oldest claims so that we can get everything cleared from March and April and show people that we're working forward. Obviously, we take a lot of requests from legislators every single day where we have different teams of people working through every customer's issues. Reporters like you send us inquiries, and we're always trying to address everyone. We are looking to create a better way to communicate with the claimant in their portal because it's automatic and it's available to everyone anytime that they choose to go in to provide notification of exactly what is happening with their claim. It's already happening to an extent, but we are working to improve that for sure.
Thank you, Secretary. I really appreciate it. Is there anything I left out that you wanted to include?
The only thing I would say is that I mentioned that I haven't declined any meeting request. I did have a very long phone call this week with the president of the Senate, Senator Ferguson. I also spoke with Chairman Gazzoni, following that joint committee hearing, and we have had some follow-up conversations about specific claimants. I welcome the questions directly. I manage my own email box, although it's a little bit overwhelming at this moment. I'm willing to take calls and explain specific issues any day and at any time. So I thank you for this interview, and I'm sorry we haven't been able to do it sooner, but I hope we can continue to communicate.
Thank you. I do as well, and hopefully I can take you up on that because we're just trying to get these claimants answers as well.